Ooh, this is exotic. Muscle Cat Media. Nice. Cultural.
Back in the expats for a normal episode for the second time in less than 24 hours. Thanks to those that tuned in to our first Destiny Draft episode. We will touch on Destiny Draft just a little bit in this podcast. But if you haven't done so yet, head to the website, baseballexpats.com. Directly from the homepage, you can check out the Destiny Draft live scoreboard. There wasn't a lot of action today, but it will pick up as the days and weeks progress. We'll say hello to the boys, Eric and Spoon. How are you, fellas?
Hello. The Jays suck.
This was going to be a positive
terrible.
pod.
This was never going to be a positive pod.
Well, I always have high hopes when we come on, but the two of you were frowning whenever I jumped into the podcast studio. Look, there are a lot of guys that you just feel like are going to come good, but I feel like we've been saying that for a few weeks now, and it's just not happening. And Vladdy is one of those guys, it seems like.
He's just gone 50 straight plate appearances without recording a single extra base hit. It's the longest drought of his career. His OPS has dropped 149 points in the last 13 days. That's a slump.
How worried are we, Eric? What's the temperature like in Toronto?
I mean, he's still hitting over 300, but he just doesn't look himself, right? Like that kind of fun-loving, free-flowing dude that, that power comes from. And this lineup's kind of designed for Vladdy to hit homers.
What do the peripherals say? Like, is he getting... Yeah, I mean, his expected batting average is the highest in baseball. He's hitting the ball hard-ish. 95th percentile bat speed, doesn't strike out a lot. Barrel rate only 59%, so maybe that's the difference. He's just an inch off or less than. Hard hit ball, 63rd percentile. Sweet spot launch angle, 32nd percentile. Is it a launch angle thing? Is he getting under it? Is he getting over it?
I'm not too sure, man. He's just not hitting for power.
But I mean, we talked about it with Chandler Simpson. Like it was the exact opposite conversation that we had last week when we were talking about Chandler Simpson because of his peripherals and what he does around the metrics. His expected batting average is so low, but he's able to raise it because of all of the other peripherals that he does. This is kind of the opposite of that, right? When you have a guy like Vladdy who has shown that he can do it over and over again. I mean, he had a slow start last year, and you were an out away from winning a World Series game, or a World Series in Game 7 last year against the Dodgers. So I don't think it's time to panic. And like with Spoon looking at those numbers, like if his expected batting average is tops in baseball, it says that he's probably doing everything right. He's maybe just getting a little bit unlucky. But you're right. Yeah. At what point in the game of baseball do you start to go, it's just not happening for me, it's just not happening for me, you start to change things, even if a lot of these extended metrics are saying that, well, actually, you're doing everything right. You're just not getting rewarded for it.
Yeah, so a couple of the big drops from last year, 2025, expected or exit velocity was 88th percentile this year down to 71. And the big one is hard hit percentage, 90 percentile down to 63. He hasn't dropped below 89 since his first full season in the league. So, yeah, it seems like he's just not hitting the ball that hard despite having really good bat speed. Bat speed hasn't dropped. That kind of makes me think it's a matter of time. And we should maybe be avalanching total bases for Vladdy, but that's a dangerous game.
We'll see, man. He just doesn't look... again, if this is Vladdy's bad, you take it, right? Like, he gets on base. He has singles. It's pretty crazy that this is his bad. But that power needs to come. This lineup was literally constructed banking on power from Vladdy.
There's so many of these guys right now, like we talked about. I mean, you could almost make a pseudo all-star team out of guys that are slumping in the moment. I mean, you look at like Alec Boehm, for instance, with the Phillies is hitting under $160. I mean, Tatis still looking for his first home run. Jake Cronenworth, another on a Padres team that's struggling to score runs. George Springer was 0 for again today for the Blue Jays. You expect him to lift. He's still hitting under 200. Brenton Doyle for the Rockies, who I think a lot of people maybe were thinking that he'd probably be their best player this year. He's still hitting under $180. But I think the one that's most surprising of all, it just continues to go over, and it's inexplicable based on what he did last year, is Cal Raleigh. I mean, he almost exploded from out of nowhere last year, right? At the beginning of the season last year, he was not on the radar at all for, even being an all-star in the American League. And the next thing you know, he was neck and neck racing Aaron Judge for the American League MVP. And some will still tell you that he probably should have won that award. What's going on with Raleigh? I haven't watched a lot of Mariners games. I've seen a lot of the rhetoric around it, but without getting my eyes on him and diving too far into the metrics, what's going on with him? Because even when he wasn't necessarily hitting for power last year, albeit hitting home runs, he was still getting extra base hits. He was still getting on base. And it feels like everything's been feast or famine with him a little bit in 2026. I just wonder if that's a hangover and he's trying to replicate what he did last season and is just not having any luck doing it. But is there anything that you can sift through numbers wise and figure out what it is that's actually going on with Raleigh?
Yeah, so his over 34 streak at the moment is the longest of any drought of any player this season. And again, applying the same kind of analysis we did with Vladdy, some of these are really stark. So 2025 percentile, 79th percentile exit velocity. This year, 16th percentile exit velocity. 2025 hard hit percentage, 85th percentile. This year, 9th percentile. Squared up percentile, 1. That means literally everyone in baseball is squaring the ball up more than he is. So I think it's a combination of the power and the contact, which makes it a lot harder to rectify than it does for a Vladdy who's getting the contact, right? Like this looks like it could be a long season for Cal Raleigh. And I even saw some Mariners fans on Reddit, in the Mariners subreddit, another place I lurk, suggesting just one of those 10-day phantom IL stints, where a guy doesn't actually have anything wrong, but like he just needs to take a holiday with his family or whatever it is for 10 days and get a bit of a reset.
I have an idea, boys. I know I was in the chat anti-theme team, but I'm going to throw one at you now. How would you guys like to build a starting 9? We don't have to go for a full team right now of the all disappointment team here on the Positive Pod. Give me one guy from each position, and we've already filled out 2 of the 7 that is leaving something to be desired, right? Like Raleigh, they can't be hurt. Injury's not an excuse. Raleigh is the catcher. Like Vladdy's still having a decent year, but you could probably classify him on an all disappointment one because he's not producing those power numbers, and that 50 at-bat streak you talked about, Spoon, is there. So are there other guys you had that could fill out the lineup?
I'd be putting Ketel Marte in at second base. 2024 OPS of 930, 2025 OPS of 895, 2026 OPS just 640. He's been scuffling a lot, and probably a big part of why the D-backs offense hasn't been doing what they're doing or what they were expected to do. I will say with Ketel, and I've been watching it, like he is smoking the ball and he's been a little bit unlucky on a handful of occasions. His expected batting average is 290, which is one of the best in baseball. But if you look at real results, not peripherals, I think Ketel could easily be our second baseman on the all disappointment team.
What about Bo?
Bo at third. Do we play him at the position that the Mets put him in? That he should
probably put Machado at third and put Bo at shortstop. Put Bo back where he belongs.
That might fix him, though. We're trying to build a terrible team.
No, we're trying to build guys we can fix. I just drafted Manny Machado yesterday in Destiny Draft. I'm trying to fix him.
Yeah, I mean, Machado's on that list. You'd have to think, right?
Yeah, I think so. I think Nando's a great shout as well. I mean, Matt Chapman's been having a really rough go of it. He could be our third baseman too, or he could be our DH. He was never, an offensive superstar, but I think he had the longest hitless streak of his career for a while there until a couple of days ago. And his OPS is just 624. His squared up percentile, 9th. Expected batting average, 8th percentile. There's a lot of blue on this baseball savant page. Obviously, he's a glove first guy. So, where the bar is for a guy like Matt Chapman's maybe a little bit different, but he's probably an honorable mention on the hot corner.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think he beats Machado though, given his stature and contract. But you're right. I think the whole San Francisco Giants you could make a case for.
Yeah, I wonder if I go I wonder if I can find biggest drop offs in OPS year to year. something like that would probably be a really good point in the right direction. I mean, outfielders, Nando. Who's been average that was actually a superstar? Because I was going to say, Alec Thomas got DFA'd, but I'm not sure he was ever making an all-star team with where he was.
Yeah, I mean, I could put somebody like Victor Scott II in the same boat as Alec Thomas, probably, right? Victor Scott's been woeful, and they're even talking about sending him down. I mean, but he was still a 2.5 WAR last year. Is basically his second-year player, and he's just been woeful this year. Like, his OPS is below 500. He's got 3 extra base hits playing center field. The Cardinals pull him out of the game late, not as a defensive replacement, but as an offensive replacement most games late. So pulling your center fielder in order to get better offense is normally not a sign of a winning team, but St. Louis have been fortunate enough that it's worked out for them. And they've got Eric Sky Nathan Church to be able to put in for him.
What about PCA at center field?
Yeah, it's probably not a bad shout as well. It's not great that 2 or 3 of these guys have my hard-earned Australian dollars on them on a futures basis, and we're putting them in the all disappointment team.
Like PCA at center field, Tatis at right field. Tatis feels like sort of a given, right? And then
I think I've got our left fielder locked in.
Who?
Stephen Kwan is having a terrible season.
What about Roman Anthony?
Stephen Kwan was a dude, though. He's got an OPS of 570 this year.
That's pretty bad.
He's first percentile average exit velocity, first percentile bat speed. His bat is just like a
all right, let's go Kwan.
Kwan in left. I mean,
who's our shortstop? We can't go Bo because he's been playing third this year. I think Bo, given the contract and the team, is kind of your third baseman.
What about Trevor Story?
What about Trey Turner?
Who's having a worse season? Trevor Story has an OPS of 520. Every single peripheral is 53rd percentile or worse.
Trey Turner is having a better year than that, but not much. His
Trevor
OPS
Story,
is 642.
Expected weighted on base average is the worst in baseball.
For Story?
Trevor Story. He has a first percentile chase rate. Those are Javi Baez numbers.
Well, we should surely be able to do worse than Vladdy and Marte.
I think so. I think, yeah. I mean, I started by looking at who has the worst expected slugging in baseball and sorted from the bottom, and these were some of the names that were popping up to get like
Devers at first.
Devers at first, probably. Yeah, I mean, Rhys Hoskins is having a bad year, but do we consider him?
No. Devers has expectation, right? That trade.
I've got a much better second base than Ketel Marte. It's Jazz Chisholm. Guy's having a terrible season.
I might be able to one-up you. Jazz Chisholm, you're right, is having a pretty bad year. All right, read out his stats, and I'll give you my guy's stats.
Okay, expected batting average, 4th percentile, 1.91. His actual batting average is 201, so he's 10 points better than that. He's chasing a lot. He's striking out a lot. He's not squaring it up. And then what this doesn't show, but I know, is that he's the worst ABS challenger in all of baseball. And some of the challenges he has made are like pitches right down the middle. Plus, he just plays like he doesn't care.
And he talked a huge game at the start of the year.
Yeah. He just plays like he doesn't care. He doesn't run out routine grounders. He's already been booed at home. I can't believe I put my guy Ketel Marte in before Jazz Chisholm in the all disappointment team.
I was going to say Marcus Semien, but he's 35 years old. He's not having a very good year at all. But again, he's 35. Like at some point, your infield play is going to run up. So while he is disappointing and he is on the Mets, it's kind of like, Yeah, so we got Raleigh at catcher, Devers at first, Jazz at second, Bo at third, Trevor Story at short, Stephen Kwan at left, PCA at center, and Tatis at right. Rolsey, how many wins would that starting 9 get this year alone in your formula? I guess we need a DH and a starting pitcher.
We would need to, I think what we would need to do is change the formula and go on like expected WAR based on how the start of the season has been. So we just like reverse mock them and say that their form is going to continue. Because a lot of those guys that have negative WAR, and having negative WAR with a team of replacement guys would mean that you win like less than 48 games. So it could be like maybe one of the worst records in Major League history, like Cleveland Spiders style, whenever Joe Quinn was their player manager back in whatever that was, the 1890s or whatever it was. It could be historically a bad team if those guys continue to go the way that they've been going.
He just went on the IL, I think maybe a phantom IL kind of trip, and he was an option yesterday in the Destiny draft. Our starting pitcher has to be Logan Webb, right? Like, this guy has been a Cy Young candidate for a very long time. This year he's got a...
Yeah, could be Logan Webb. What
this
about
year
Roki?
He's got an ERA like near the sixes or above. I can't think of anyone who's had a bigger drop-off from a starting pitching point of view than Logan Webb. So I think he's got to be the ace of this team.
In just speaking about that Destiny draft that we did yesterday, anybody who hasn't gone and listened to the podcast, go have a listen to it because we did have quite a bit of fun. And it was only because it was Eric's idea to build out that undrafted leaderboard just to see how guys that went undrafted did. Only 2 of those guys played today and both had negative points, Matt Chapman and George Springer. But I didn't realize it until the scoreboard went up that 6 of the guys that we pulled yesterday are actually on the injured list. So you can almost say that that's a continuation of the curse that this podcast has been in the last 2 or 3 years. I guess they didn't go on the IL after we mentioned them, but they were on the IL when we pulled the cards. So it's almost like
they put themselves in the pack.
Yeah.
I know I left for a second there, but did we land on a DH starting pitcher and a closer?
I want the starting pitcher to be Logan Webb. I just think he was a Cy Young guy for a very long time. Comes back and he's pitching like 6+ ERA, can't get anyone out, 0 strikeouts. He's been rough, but honestly, after today's start, if I can't pick someone who's on the IL, Kevin Gossman's trending in the wrong direction in a hurry. This is a guy I love. I've loved him for a very long time, but he is not missing bats right now.
Yeah, but he's got a 3.86 ERA on the season still and has still put together some big starts. What about Roki?
Roki was never good.
But he's a disappointment still.
Logan Webb has to be all over him as far as like leading in innings pitched last year, top 5 Cy Young voting, and now he can't get any outs, right?
Yeah, Logan Webb is probably a good call.
Can our DH be Gino Suarez? This guy was a big free agent kind of talking point because he's 34 and there was a lot of concern that the bat was going to disappear. He's 2nd percentile in baseball this year on hard hit percentage with an expected batting average of 201. I think Gino could be the perfect DH.
Can I give you one up for a perfect DH? Bo Naylor.
Yeah.
Bo Naylor is like he's not even in the big leagues anymore.
Yeah, but like Gino hit 49 home runs last year, right? Like it's almost a like for like with what Cal Riley's doing. It's just not getting talked about as much because Cal Riley nearly won an MVP and he did it as a catcher.
Yeah,
I mean, Gino Suarez is on pace to hit 15 home runs at a terrible clip this year. And
that's a great point.
Striking out a lot. He's swinging and missing a lot.
What about Casty?
Who? Oh, Castellanos. He's still in the league. Did anyone pick him up?
He's terrible. He's on San Diego.
He must not have enough ABs to be qualified because I've watched a lot of Padres games and he is not really playing.
He homered with 2 outs and 2 strikes to tie the ball game yesterday against St. Louis and ultimately win it. He made Riley O'Brien blow the save, which was disappointing. So I'm well aware that Nick Castellanos is alive and well.
I think Gino has to be he's the 20th worst hitter in baseball on expected batting average. From 49 home runs to this, I think he's our DH.
And closer, like Devin Williams?
Yeah. Big money, not doing anything at all. Probably has to be, doesn't it?
I was going to say Hoffman, but you kind of expected it now.
He's not even a closer anymore, right? Didn't he get pulled from that role?
Yeah, Hoffman is, and that's why you'd say he's a disappointment. But like, I don't know, the Jays had one of the best relievers in baseball in Louis Varland, who was probably going to absurd him anyway. So
I think honorable mention would be the other closer in New York. Camilo Doval has not been very good this year. He's got 2nd most blown saves in all of baseball, an ERA of 6.14 and a negative WAR.
Yep. What about... Let me look up one more guy. No. I think that might be a pretty good option.
Can we compare 2026 Camilo Doval against who did you say?
I said Devin Williams.
Devin Williams. Let's see who's worse.
I mean, Camilo Doval was lights out. But I mean, well, he wasn't even that lights out last year. He was okay last year.
I think Devin Williams, the struggles have been coming for a while, right? Like the writing's been on the wall for a little bit. I think the Duval drop-off probably has him more qualified for where we are talking right now.
Yeah, probably. Yeah.
And Williams has him beat anyway on ERA, strikeout rate, WAR, all of it. Duval's been bad.
Yep. I would say that is probably a great call.
His team's getting like beer cans thrown on them, right, every time they go out onto the field.
I got one more for disappointment category for pitchers. What about Jesus Lizard?
Yeah, Rocks and Diamondbacks, that guy.
He is got a 6 ERA, my friend.
I think what gets him slightly out of the conversation is he can still just go and get 10 strikeouts every few days that make his stats look better than they actually are, right? Whereas like Logan Webb, I don't know how many strikeouts Logan Webb has this year, but it's not many. 42 in 48 innings.
Yeah. In other relievers, Pete Fairbanks has a 10 ERA. Oh my God. Anthony Bonda has a 7.64 in 20 appearances for Minnesota. They keep going back to the well.
So he's our setup guy.
He is probably our setup guy.
Really nice and also a little bit confusing that we're not talking about D-backs pitching here.
Man, maybe it's not as bad as you think it is.
D-backs pitching is really good. Just turns out the offense now can only score 1 run a game.
What a change. What about Zerpa?
How many bad teams can we put this guy on?
What about Stanek?
Yeah, Ryan's been struggling.
Stanek was never really that good though.
I think that's a pretty disappointing team.
It is a really disappointing team. I guess like I kind of want Devin Williams at closer just because of fan expectations, right? He comes in, big hyped guy, pitching terribly, big market, bad team, history in New York already. Yeah, Webb's supposed to be a Cy Young guy. Gino had a big year last year. Tatis hasn't hit a home run. PCA was supposed to be an MVP. Juan drop-off is ridiculous. What is Story doing? Bo's notably a terrible signing. Jazz is disinterested. Devers might be more disinterested. And what is wrong with Cal Raleigh?
That sums it up.
That's a disappointing team.
Devers has a minus 0.7 WAR. Doesn't he have like 4 years left on that deal?
Well, I like our disappointment team.
Did the Red Sox get one right? Like they traded Mookie Betts, the fans rioted. They let Xander go, the fans rioted. They let Devers go and it was the last straw, but now it's like maybe bullet dodged.
I mean,
although they went and got Trevor Story, so it's kind of, like for like.
Well, if this was the dream team, that was the dream team. This is more of a nightmare team, right? Like
sleep paralysis demons.
Sleep paralysis team. Anyways, thanks for indulging.
It's amazing what we can cook up on the fly.
Oh,
we're
you
like
guys
Master
finished?
Chef.
I got distracted. I was looking to see how long Heamasi Makasini was signed with the West Tigers while all that was happening. That's a true story. I forgot that we were filming a podcast.
But
that sounds like an awful baseball team that you guys just cooked up.
It's very disappointing, but it's also the kind of team the fans will be like, the next 10 days are the most important days of the disappointment team's season, because on paper they could all turn it around and return to be murderers row as they all were individually, but on paper right now, no.
If you do have that written down somewhere, maybe we'll run it through the algorithm, but give them an expected WAR based on how they've performed this season and see just how low we can get the season record. Look, just before we move on,
would be like what their WAR was at this point last season, or like, a quarter of their WAR last year minus what they're doing this year, and then see the drop off, right? And then if you looked at like what the team would have been with them last year, you could maybe then figure out how much worse they are.
Yeah, I just kind of want to go full nuclear and pretend like you've put the mock on every single one of the players that you've put on the disappointment team, and they're just going to continue to go the direction they've been going.
Yeah, I mean, you built a brilliant dashboard for Destiny Draft, and now I'm kind of expecting the impossible from a tech point of view. Like I'm just going to rub the lamp and make a few wishes every now and then.
It's a good segue, actually, because I do want to touch on it briefly. It was a bit disappointing today that there weren't a lot of guys playing. I mean, Spoon had 2 position players going, and you were very excited early when Corbin Carroll got a base hit and scored a run, and you were up 2-0 and on the top of the leaderboard. Then Corbin didn't do anything else. He nearly hit a home run late in that game, actually, and matchup against Texas earlier today. But Gabby Marino had a couple of strikeouts, so it took the 2 points away. So essentially, after one day, we are right where we started at no points for anybody. But you would expect that tomorrow that'll get up and running with a full slate of games. I do expect us to hear from Grom. We'll have to get some sort of report from Grom, maybe for Friday's episode, just to see how he's feeling. But again, for anybody interested in those teams, you can head to baseballexpats.com. You can click on the Destiny Draft. It'll be pinned to the top of the homepage, so you can check in on how we're going. And yeah, it's look, technology is a great thing. Eric and I were messing with Claude Code all afternoon for various other projects that we're looking at doing. You can basically build anything you put your mind to these days, kids. There's no excuses.
Grom did message me saying Corey Seager is doing expletive all. So he was locked in. He was watching.
Literally, he didn't even get a strikeout. It was just zeros across the board.
Yep, just nothing.
Yeah, with more days like that with Seager, especially if Wood's not on and if he's striking out, it could be that everything hinges on Chris Bassett for poor Grom. But yeah, we'll try and get an audio message from him during the week or before Friday's episode, just to see how he's going. But because it's been such a negative first 15 to 20 minutes of this podcast with finding guys that have been having horrible seasons, let's move on to some positivity. Spoon's got a couple of tips for the midweek slate Wednesday here in Australia. The Tuesday slate, a full slate of games in Major League Baseball. It was a bit light on today. Spoon, where are we going?
This one is really surprising to me price-wise. We're heading to Pittsburgh. Paul Skeens on the mound. And obviously, you're not going to get much value about either of these plays on their own. The Pirates tomorrow are $1.28. You know how rare it is in a baseball betting setup to see a team at $1.28, given, bad teams win 60, 70 games every season. $1.28 is much worse than that. But this is as big a mismatch as you will find on paper. Skeens was really good against the D-backs last week. I mean, he just completely shut them down. The D-backs is a much better hitting lineup and a much better contact lineup than these Colorado Rockies, who are the worst strikeout team in baseball again in 2026. So the way I want to play tomorrow is Skeens 7 strikeouts and the Pirates to win at $1.95, which I thought was awfully generous. That looks like a much better than 1 in 2 chance of happening to me. So I think I want to play that way to kick things off on Wednesday. Any thoughts?
Seems fairly straightforward. I guess it's unlike you to take a double for less than plus money.
Yeah, I did think it was going to be $1.60, to be honest. I mean, in my head, that's $1.60. It's $1.72 on Bet365. So to go get the $1.95 right there on Sportsbet now for 7 in the win, I figure I have to lock that in because I think that's going to continue to shorten. Sportsbet were first to put their pricing up again. And yeah, I was surprised when I clicked 2 buttons and saw that number.
And I guess at that point, it sort of does feel like value, right? If all of the bookies are giving $1.60, $1.65, and you're able to find one that's 25, 30 cents better, it starts to feel like value, I guess, at that point, doesn't it?
Yeah, I mean, if you ever got 2.4 to 1 about a roulette color, you'd be playing that regardless. So that's the kind of logic being applied here. The other one is a little bit similar, and I can't believe I'm going to go back to this team because they burnt me, and this guy's burnt me as well a couple of times already this season. But I want to give Freddie Peralta one last chance and the Mets one last chance because I thought this was a pretty nice looking play. Freddie Peralta's 6 strikeouts and the Mets to win is $2.40. Jack Flaherty's on the mound for the Tigers, and he's been okay this year. But if you look at the splits for him, he's been really good at home and really poor on the road. I mean, last start he struck out, I think 10. Red Sox was the number I was looking at. He struck out 10 at home. He's been really solid there, but when he's gone on the road in 2026, it just hasn't really gone to plan for him. And look, the Mets, there's not a lot of great things to say about them, but they've been a bit better at home. I think they're going to be able to tag some runs on Flaherty, and I hope, I pray that Freddie Peralta can get 6 strikeouts against the Tigers team that do strike out a lot. In 2026, Freddie Peralta's strikeout rate at home is 10.5 compared to on the road, it's just 6.2. So a massive difference there. Look, he doesn't go particularly deep, and that's always the concern. You have to be tracking well early with Peralta because he's not going to give you 100 or more pitches, and he's not going to get out of the 6th inning. But I think he can pick up a strikeout per inning. This Tigers team's been striking out a lot lately, and at $2.40, given I've got the cover of the Skeens play at 195, I'm pretty happy with both of those because if I get 1 from 2, we'll forget it ever happened. If I get 2 from 2, I'll buy more baseball cards for us to do Destiny Draft. I'm going to buy those anyway.
Back to the Mets. You are a
I feel
sicko.
sick. I feel sick.
But it feels like, I don't know, and maybe it's the same with Bichette. I mean, there's just something about Fastball Freddy that just hasn't felt in character all year, but it's just the smell of that whole team, right? Like it has to be.
Yeah, I think what I like for him is his whiff percentile is still 70th in baseball. It just isn't translating yet to strikeouts. He's generating a lot of swing and miss, just not at the right time and not in the right counts. I think a Tigers team that chase a lot and get behind in counts because of that, it should translate to strikeouts tomorrow. Look, he's 43 strikeouts in 43 innings. I'm expecting 6 innings tomorrow. He might give up a run or 2, but I'm expecting the Mets to get a hold of Flaherty and get a few more. And then we're just going to hand it over to the Mr. Disappointment closer, Devin Williams, to try and lock things down in the ninth and probably blow my play.
What could possibly go wrong? So Paul Skeens, 7 or more strikeouts, and Pittsburgh to win against Colorado. Now all of a sudden that $1.60 for that bet seems exquisite after you've gone through deciding to tip Fastball Freddy and the Mets, and the second tip, Fastball Freddy versus Detroit, 6 or more, and the Mets to win, which aren't words that I expected to come out of Spoon's mouth. But I did say we were going to end this on a positive note. So even though he's buried them and declared them no hope in the National League this year, he is still going to try and earn $1 or $2 on them throughout the season. Apparently.
I'm a week to 10 days away from declaring the Blue Jays dead. I need to see more.
Dude, they're a game out of a playoff spot.
Yeah, but the team was being carried by Vladdy and Gossman. Now that those two guys are having their worst 2 weeks of the season and maybe their careers, I don't know who's going to step up. I hope I'm wrong.
It's not like Vladdy's going to be like this all year, man.
I very much hope you're right because I have money on him to hit lots of home runs, and he has 2.
Again, if you haven't already done so, like and subscribe, share the pod. It really does help us grow, and we hope you enjoy following along Destiny Draft the next couple of weeks. Again, you can head to baseballexpats.com, click on the Destiny Draft icon at the top of the homepage, and hopefully follow Team Rolsey to a round 1 victory. We'll be back on Friday. There's a lot going on in the baseball world. Eric's actually allowing me to call 2 baseball games tomorrow at the Australian Senior League Championships, which I'm really looking forward to. So back on the microphone in an official capacity, which will be a lot of fun. But we'll be back here on the Expats for the weekend pickoff on Friday. Until then, enjoy the week. Enjoy your baseball. Bye, everybody.